Welcome back to Bat Fridays here on One Comic Book a Day as we cover Detective Comic Books number 34, Peril in Paris. Detective Comics Batman stories are now up to 14 pages like the Superman action comic book stories, and this comic is written by Gardner Fox, which you expect to have a lot more gadgets, but it doesn't. In fact, Batman barely even relies on gadgets except for the Bat Gyro. It's also probably the least interesting of all the Batman comics so far. I don't know, I just don't enjoy the villain. So Bruce Wayne is walking through Midtown when he sees a man he thinks he recognizes. This ends up being a pretty big impossibility because this man has no face. He introduces himself as Charles Marie. Bruce apologizes for his mistake. I'm sure it happens all the time with a guy with no face. And they go on. There was a part of me hoping he was going to turn out to be the Question, even though the Question is not created for the DC Universe and would not be in the DC Universe till the 80s. But I can hope. I do love the Question. His name was also Charles. I mean, I know it's Victor Charles, but still. Bruce happens to get into a taxi sometime later, maybe the next day, later that day, I'm unclear, with a young woman named Carol Marie. He doesn't get that last name yet. A knife is thrown at her trying to kill her, but Bruce kind of saves her. As they leave, she faints at seeing the return of Charles. They take her to a secluded location where they reveal that they are actually siblings. Carol and Charles were at a party where they met a man named Duc d'Otré. I'm probably butchering that fake French name, who kind of looks like the love child of Sinestro and Alfred. Like, this is the most Alfred-looking guy in a comic that still doesn't have Alfred. He's the head of the Apaches, which is a gang, not actual Apaches. Still pretty racist, especially from these French guys. He has many different rays for some reason, and he used a ray to remove Charles's face after he refused to let Duck have his sister. So he's been out for revenge, trying to kill the woman he's in love with. It is weird. I think he would just be trying to kidnap her all the time. So where does this guy get these rays? He doesn't seem like a super scientist. He's just the head of the Apache gang, and for some reason a fancy Frenchman. Bruce says he wishes he could help, but he might know somebody. And then he walks out, and what feels like the very next second, Batman runs into the room. I mean, these people should put two and two together. Superman has never even done anything this obvious. He leaves the room as Clark and comes back as Superman a lot, though usually he comes in through a different door or a window. Batman just runs back through that same door. You have to read it. It is kind of funny. Batman says he's going to take the case, if there is a case to say, but he goes down into the sewer to find Duck. He finds the Apaches and Duck uses a knockout ray that's in his cane. There's so many more interesting rays he could have used to, actually get rid of Batman. He then puts Batman into some sort of torture device he calls the Wheel of Chance. It's like a big stone wheel, more set up like a hamster wheel, but it doesn't have, a middle. So he's tied on the outside, and he's going to spin around till either the straps break and he's thrown into the wall, killing him, or he goes mad. Or I believe there's a chance that the wheel might break off and crush him. So those three opportunities. No one ever brings up how sick he's going to get first. Duck has Carol and Charles brought, because I guess now with Batman gone, he can easily kidnap them, even though he could possibly do this any other time before Batman got on this case. Really his mistake. He just took too much time. However much time has passed between that party and now. Batman instead breaks his leather straps by flexing his wrists. Sure, we'll say that's a thing. More of a Superman thing than a Batman thing, but it's a thing. He's about to jump off, but Duck has the roof open, so he is thrown into the garden instead of him trying to jump off this really fast-moving wheel and probably getting thrown into the wall and dying, but I'm not the mad genius. Leading a gang called the Apaches. Jesus Christ. Batman is thrown into this garden where it's a bunch of flowers with human faces. They all kind of look like Carol, and he thinks he's gone mad, though they do tell him how to free them and how to get back in to save Charles and Carol. Charles is put to the wheel now. This is never explained what is going on. If this was a hallucination, probably wasn't. It was probably real. But who were these people in flower form, and did he have some sort of flower ray? None of this comes up. Batman's not curious at all. Just like how Bruce wasn't curious about, the man with no face earlier in the comic. Because it was just kind of strange. You know how you see somebody without a face on the street all the time, you go, wow, that's weird. Back to my life. Batman saves Charles, but Duck escapes in his car with Carol. He then gets in his bat gyro and chases them. He's able to jump down to the car where Duck tries another ray on him, but he expects this and knocks it out of his hand. Unfortunately, he doesn't expect him to have a knife, which you would think be the main thing Batman would always expect someone to be packing. That and a gun. Those should be the two things he's always prepared for. But no, he was prepared for the weird ray. But Carol kicks Duck, saving Batman. Batman grabs her out of the car, and the car goes over a cliff, killing Duck, saving her. They then kind of thank Batman, and Carol kind of demands to know who he is, and he refuses to tell. So, pretty simple Batman story. Not quite, the Batman story we all expect. It's still kind of wonderfully weird. I really wish more villains Superman had rays. I don't know why this guy has rays. And I always loved that the art here by Sheldon Moldoff, though technically Bob Kane, but Sheldon, looks like it's out of like a 1930s Universal monster movie. Like, even Carol kind of dresses like she's the victim in a Dracula movie. It's a choice, and I kind of love this choice. But this one just didn't connect to me. I just don't find Duck all that very interesting of a villain. Unlike that weird monk who was a vampire, who Batman shot. Or that Napoleon villain. Now that was fun. Okay, that's it for Detective Comics number 34, Peril in Paris. Almost got that wrong. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Mondays and Thursdays are an action comic or Superman comic. The action comic featuring Superman, I should say. And I'll join you next time, same bat day, same comic book channel. Bye!